Wine Guy Ty. Welcome to the Barrel Room. My guest today is Nikos Zacharis. He is the sales and export manager for Kir-Yianni from Naoussa, Greece, and Amyndeon.
Amyndeon, right.
Amyndeon. Kalimera.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm really happy to be here with you.
So just before we get going, Nikos, I just want to draw attention for listeners to my last interview, which was conducted for the Vancouver International Wine Festival with the executive director, Harry Hertzscheg. We talked about everything from the festival's inception to what he described as channeling chaos, covered current industry trends and the important seminars, of course, which are a key component of the festival. We even delved deep into both our experiences of the past working in radio. So very interesting interview. If that sounds of interest to you, head on over there and have a listen. But today, we are talking about Top Drop, which is on deck in Vancouver here, a big festival. Top Drop's focus and mandate is, broadly speaking, to provide a platform for terroir-influenced handcrafted wines and the people behind them. Its focus is on wines of integrity, honest wines, as I call them, and telling their stories. And this year, featuring 40-plus terroir-driven wineries with 45 exhibitors, including Argentina, Chile, Canada and the US, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Georgia and Lebanon, Australia, and Greece. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm just going to maybe share, Nikos, if you don't mind, for listeners, a little history of Greek wine before we get into what you do.
Yes, please.
Greek wine dates back to as early as 4000 BC when first vines were domesticated. Greece, in fact, was the center of the world of wine. Truly was the nectar of the gods. Dionysus is the god of grape harvest, also fertility, religious ecstasy, and so on. And winemakers worshipped him to ensure a good harvest. I don't know if you do that yourself today, but that's part of the history. During the Ottoman rule, about 400 years plus, Greek wine almost disappeared completely, and Greece lost its status as winemaking power. But at the beginning of the 1970s, a handful of winemakers, including Kir-Yianni, whose wines pushed hard to reestablish Greece back on the map as a world-class winemaking nation. And today, 80% of the wineries are less than 20 years old, so over 200 indigenous varietals. We're going to talk about some of those, producing wines not found anywhere else in the world. As far as terroir, it's rich in varied topography, mountains, islands, lots of sun, warm autumns, creating ideal ripening conditions, so good for grape growing and winemaking. Greece is now noteworthy for its dynamism in winemaking for sure. Many organic and biodynamic vineyards producing great wines of quality. And of course, there's awards too, some top Decanter World Wine Awards and others. We've come a long way since Retsina was the Greek national beverage. Do you like Retsina?
Retsina, if it's been well made, there are some really fine examples of really, really good wines.
I haven't had wines.
Next time I'll visit. I promise I'll bring you a bottle because there are some really nice producers. We do not produce Retsina ourselves. Yes. But let me get from the start. So yes, we do not praise Dionysus today because we are far from ancient Greek. We have, of course, there is in the Greek Orthodox we have another god for wine, and that shows that winemaking in Greece has a really strong bond in the society, in the Greek society, from ancient years until today.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right. The Greek wineries. They started in the 70s, most of them, like 80%, and you're right.
Well, maybe let's start with that. So the current place and perception of Greek wine here in Canada and British Columbia, it seems there's not a lot of shelf space allocated lately and very little of the kinds of quality that is available compared to other countries. So why do you think that is?
Well, we have to be honest because in the 70s and the 80s, the first wine that we were exporting was a little bit cheap bulk wine in a way. So we didn't show the best face that we could show to the markets. Now, in 2020, in 2024, a lot of huge steps have been made about Greek in the Greek wine industry. And remember, the Kir-Yianni family is a fifth generation in wine growing. It's a family that started from the last century. So in the 70s, we made the first plantings in Naoussa, which we planted mostly Xinomavro, a Greek indigenous variety, which I think that if someone wants to focus on Greek wines, has to focus on Greek indigenous varieties to start knowing about what Greek wine is all about.
That's always interesting to me. Some of the ones I'm more familiar with, Assyrtiko, Xinomavro, Malagousia, grapes with hard names to pronounce, at least for us in the West. From many of the wines that you craft, you make those as well as others. How would you describe them, or what characterizes in general those particular grapes that are so unique to the country?
So every grape variety has its own character, of course. We'll start with Assyrtiko. Assyrtiko, the variety that was first planting in the island of Santorini. A volcano island with really poor soils, with hard winds, with a lot of sun, with extreme heat condition. Mm-hmm. We call it heroic agriculture when it comes to
heroic viticulture. Yes,
heroic viticulture when it comes to having a vine in the island of Santorini. So Assyrtiko, it's quite unique because of this chalky mineral character, a little bit of salty, and also high alcohol levels in the wines. But of course you cannot tell because the acidity and this chalky character balance really good with the alcohol.
So when you say high alcohol, like 12.5, 13.5, 14?
We'll go from 13.5 to 14.5.
And you're talking particularly for Assyrtiko from Santorini.
From the island.
So this is because obviously they develop a lot of sugars as they're ripening. Harvest taking place when?
Usually we start harvesting early August. Say late July to early August. And I think before we reach the 15th or 20th of August, we're done with harvest.
So you're also understanding of all of the winemaking that goes on all around your properties and vineyards. One of the things that I've always found so fascinating about this kind of thing is learning that, if you want to make a wine with less ABV, with less alcohol, you tend to pick the grapes earlier on. So like you say, starting with harvest in August and not leaving the grapes hang too long so that they don't have developed sugars so much so that when you're making a dry wine, the alcohol goes up too high for what we normally expect for a nice.
For us, wine. it's about to find the right balance. If you are looking at a wine that has like 14% alcohol, it's not a bad thing. Or of course, not a bad thing if it's 12% or 11.5. It will be a bad thing if the wine is unbalanced. So if you can taste and feel the alcohol that much that overmasks all the other flavors and aromas from the wine. So it's always about the balance.
So Kir-Yianni Boutari founded in 1997 the current iteration of the winery with an aim to create quality wines expressing the terroirs and origins. And you have, as we've briefly discussed already, multiple sites and vineyards across several areas, including Naoussa Amyndeon and others. Can you describe, just for a moment for listeners, what makes each region unique?
Okay, so the Naoussa region, it's one of the oldest regions that we cultivate vines, and the Kir-Yianni slash Boutari, it's not Boutari, it's Kir-Yianni winery, started from the Boutari family. So long story short, 5th generation now, driven by Stelios Boutaris. He's driving the Kir-Yianni winery. His father, Yannis Boutaris, the ex-mayor of Thessaloniki, of my hometown, he was a pioneer. He went in the 70s in Naoussa, and he was a winemaker, but not a vine grower. So when he returned from his studies, he was 25 years old, and he bought the land in Naoussa, almost without his family knowing about this, because he was sure that it was the time from winemaker to become vine grower slash winemaker. So he planted with Xinomavro, the native variety, and also with some international varieties, because in the 70s, the winemakers that came from studying in Europe's universities, in Italian universities, in French universities, they were trained how to cultivate the international varieties more than how to cultivate the indigenous varieties. So they started in the 70s by cultivating the Syrah and the Merlot, and on the same side working on Xinomavro. So we had the first plantings not first plantings, we have the plantings of Xinomavro in Naoussa, and in the 80s we brought the Greek University and we did a huge research on the Xinomavro variety. And today we have different clones of the variety, so we know which clone to plant in which soil. So Naoussa, it's in the northwest Greece. It's in the foothills of Mount Vermion. It's a moderate climate, Mediterranean climate zone. So we have mild winters and mild summers, not extreme heat conditions during the summer. So
you find like there's certain elevation of those vineyards as well that keep the fresh acidity.
Of course. Even in Naoussa, when we are located in Giannakohori, in a hill called Rhamnista, which we also produce a label called Rhamnista, it's in the highest elevation of the zone, around 300 meters.
300 meters. Yeah,
and then if we go to Amyndeon, which is from the other side of this mountain called Vermion, we are in an altitude around 700 meters, which is the highest altitude in Greece, one of the highest that you can cultivate the vines. So in Amyndeon we mostly do Xinomavro, and then we do the whites. So we do some Sauvignon Blanc, we do some Chardonnay, we do a lot of Assyrtiko there also, but the mainland Assyrtiko.
Yeah, I brought with me here, you just kind of noted this. This was a kind of a table piece created by your business partners locally, World Wine Synergy, for a tasting that I had the great pleasure of going to back in 2022. And on it, very nicely formed, are photos of the front labels of many of what you produce. So I see here many different names. Some of them are actually in Greek script, so I can't read them like that.
The Tarsanas, yes.
But that is 100% Assyrtiko. And then I see that you have Vieille Vigne here is noted, of course, partly because nearly all of the vines that you are cultivating or harvesting from are 80 years old or so.
Vieille Vignes in Greece, let's say it's for vines that are like 45, 50 years old and more. If we will talk about the Santorini's vineyard, the island, we will talk then for vines that the age will extend 100 years old. 100
years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in Greece we got the phylloxera, so like in the rest of Europe. So a lot of we replaced a lot of plantings in the 70s due to this problem of phylloxera.
So are many of these vines grafted onto
American
North
roots?
American rootstocks?
Yes.
There's really no natural rootstocks left.
In Santorini and in Amyndeon, where we have these sandy soils where phylloxera cannot thrive, we have a lot, not more, a few. Especially in Santorini, almost all the vineyard it's on the Greek rootstock, not in the U.S.
Interesting.
Rootstock. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about exports. Where do you find your strongest market these days, and how does Canada rate, I guess, in the whole equation? Is this your first time here to Vancouver for a big festival?
It's my first time in Vancouver, but not my first time in Canada, because Canada for Kir-Yianni estate, it's probably the number one export market. We do a great business in Quebec. We do really good in Toronto. Now Vancouver is on the rise. We're doing better every year, and we're really happy that people really enjoy our wines from the indigenous varieties, although it's hard to pronounce the names. Okay.
Yeah, of course, yes. But we will be practicing all week long. So this week, what is the main message about Kir-Yianni that you want to share with Top Drop events? There are many events going on, upcoming, including some master classes. What kinds of things are important specifically this week for you to convey? Or what kind of wines?
Really nice question. I think that the key message is for people to come and try the new old world wines, the Greek wines, and mostly the indigenous varieties. To come and try the Xinomavro, and of course the Xinomavro for the reds, and of course the Assyrtiko for the whites. And then we'll have time to talk with anybody in the Top Drop event to talk about more details about the winery scene in Greece.
So we have lots of grapes, autochthonous varietals as well as international varietals. Maybe you can just take a moment to discuss the qualities of these grapes, what flavors and what kind of characteristics they have, because, you know, a lot of people I expect have probably never had the opportunity to have them until possibly even this week.
Perfect. We should focus in three main Greek varieties. We'll start with Xinomavro, we'll see Assyrtiko, and of course we'll see Malagousia. When it comes to Xinomavro, a Greek red grape variety, we're talking about aromas of dried tomatoes, some black olives, high acidity, high tannins, really nice wines that some say that Xinomavro stands somewhere between Pinot Noir and Nebbiolo. So if somebody hasn't tried Xinomavro and I want to describe a little bit about the wine, I would say to him or to her, it's a wine that stands between Pinot Noir and Nebbiolo.
That's a great place to be, because those are two top favorite grapes, especially for many wine nerds like me.
Okay, exactly, and also like me. So let's now talk about briefly about Assyrtiko. Assyrtiko, it's all about minerality, acidity, and this chalky character. And if you age an Assyrtiko, it will develop some petrol aromas. So you have a 10 years old Assyrtiko, especially from the island of Santorini, you will have some petrol aromas.
Do you have a reserve program for your winery with some that are held back?
We do have at Kir-Yianni, and we are releasing the Xinomavros at least 4 years old. Our dream goal is to release them on the 7th year.
Oh, okay.
But this is a little bit bigger, you need to have more warehouses, etc.
Yeah.
So we also, as Kir-Yianni, we're operating a winery in Santorini called Sigalas Winery. So also there are some library wines of Assyrtiko.
A sister winery.
Yes, exactly. And then, last but of course not least, is the Malagousia, this really fruit-driven white variety, perfumed aromas of stone fruits, a really nice acidity, refreshing wines.
Wonderful. And then, of course, rounded out with Sauvignon Blanc and a few others.
The Sauvignon Blanc, which is performing really good in Amyndeon the last years. And for me, it's always why you have to try a Greek Sauvignon Blanc, or why you have to try a Greek Syrah. Because in that case, you can evaluate the winery. Most people are not familiar with Xinomavro and Assyrtiko that much. That's why when I'm traveling and talking about Kir-Yianni, I always have a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc with me, or Syrah with me, so people can taste the wine and understand if the winery is making good or bad wine to start with, let's say.
Interesting.
The level of the winery.
So characteristics of those I expect would be obviously unique to those terroirs, but Syrah to me is emblematic of the Rhone.
Exactly.
Certainly not the style for Australia, for instance. It would be a little bit more elegant and restrained on the palate.
But even the Syrahs of the Rhone, even it's from Australia, even it's of Greece, if you taste the wine, you can understand if it's a good wine or not, to start with. And then the characteristics of the area, of course, and of the place that the wine is being cultivated.
And so how many wines are going to be available at the event for people to taste?
For the Jordan, we will have a really nice Assyrtiko, and we'll have a really nice Xinomavro. We'll focus on this.
Yeah.
And then we'll have for sure I'll have some Malagousia for you to try, because I want to give a clear message about the Greek indigenous varieties. That's my goal, and I think the wine lovers and the sommeliers from Vancouver will enjoy.
So as far as production, you mentioned just briefly before we were rolling here that you have a very strong export market in other countries, including Dubai. So how has that developed, or what has gotten you for the last 10 years as you've been involved with Kir-Yianni to get to this place now?
So let's talk about the export markets. I would say I will start with I will hold on Dubai and start with the UK market, which is on the rise now. Mm-hmm. See, every year more volume is being sold in the UK, and better wines, if I may say. Wines that are more represent in the best way the variety. So the US, of course, it's a huge market for Greek wine. Dubai, it's a really nice market because it's for the Greek wines and for Kir-Yianni wines. It's also helped by the restaurant scene there. Now you have this product, if I may say, called Greek restaurant, there are a lot of foreign people that they're investing on this, on the Greek food, and then they need the Greek wines to have the perfect match. So that's another reason why the Greek wines are doing good in Dubai.
Right, and we have a very kind of multicultural city in Vancouver and a big foodie scene here, as you may or may not know. Lots of great restaurants, including the one attached to the hotel where we are recording this moment, which is Hydra, this Mediterranean restaurant that pairs some of these wonderful wines of yours, which I think is great. For you, what is your favorite Greek food and Greek wine pairing?
Okay, I will go in two poles here. The first is I will easily have some Assyrtiko with some seafood, some Mediterranean fish, some red mullets.
Mullet?
Red mullet, yes.
Red mullet that's a popular fish.
Yes, a popular fish in Greece, yes. And then I will go for some Xinomavro with the lamb. I'll have some lamb chops with some Xinomavro. It's a perfect match because you have the tannin structure and the acidity of the wine that breaks through the fat of the lamb. So you have a really nice balance in your mouth.
And lamb is quite popular.
Quite popular in Greece, yes.
In Greece. Souvlaki, of course. And
souvlaki is made of pork, really popular. Pork and lamb are the most popular meat you can find in Greece. Of course, chicken and, of course, some beef.
Yes. And what about pairing with Malagousia? Because I know there's a couple of those wines available here in market too. So.
Malagousia is after the Assyrtiko when it comes to the white wines. Malagousia, let's say, it's the queen of the Greek vineyard. So it's Malagousia's wines are really fruit-driven wines, really aromatic wines. So you will easily go for a fresh Greek salad or a green salad, and then maybe some seafood, maybe not. Or when it comes to seafood, maybe I will go for some octopus, some grilled calamari, and that's it. Malagousia, worth try it. It's a really nice variety, Greek variety that was almost extinct. Then some winemakers took the variety and gave life, let's say, to this. And now Malagousia is really popular in Greece, planted all over Greece. You can find plantings from Creta up to the north.
You have how many hectares under the aegis of?
We have 50 hectares in Naoussa and 56 hectares in Amyndeon.
Okay, so operating in both places.
Operating in both places.
And you have like a physical winery and tasting room, or a place that
we have a physical winery in Naoussa, and we also have a restaurant in the winery the last couple of years, which is really nice to have the full experience. Yeah. You can have a picnic in the vineyard, or you can have some food in the restaurant when you can pair the wines. It's really nice. We say to ourselves, we are not restaurateurs. It's a job that we don't know how to do it, but we said that it's about time to establish a restaurant in order for people that visit us to have the whole picture, the whole idea of what's happening.
Yeah.
Also in Amyndeon, we have another winery there, and I think in less than a year, we will also have something special there. Something like a small restaurant or tasting room, we'll see.
Oh, interesting. So as far as folks getting to these places from Vancouver, I guess...
Okay, from Vancouver. Let's describe now the perfect world of arriving in Greece. So from Vancouver, you will fly to Athens. You will spend like 3 or 4 days to see the Greek islands because you cannot miss them. And then you will take a flight, it will be less than an hour, and come to Thessaloniki, up in the north.
I'm familiar with that because in my past, prior to my work in wine, I actually ran a contract in a place called Gregolimano, which is about 4 hours south of Thessaloniki. And I spent several months running a contract at a Club Med resort there. And one of the things that really struck me about the region, obviously, Greece is legendary for the beautiful sea and the landscape and the history. But I was thinking temperature-wise during the day and so on, especially during the summer months, it's so hot. For somebody who's visiting, this is like, I mean, you have to be prepared for that, right?
Imagine now we are like mid-May, we're in Vancouver. I'm wearing a jacket when I'm outside of the hotel, and I see the locals here on a t-shirt.
In t-shirt. Yeah.
You see, for me it's quite not cold, but a little bit cold. But for the local people here, it's like springtime. It's like close to summer. So we have these differences. On the other hand, yes, in Greece we are experiencing, especially during summer, really high temperatures. So that's why
increasing partly because of,
and it's partly increasing because the global warming, yes, of course. But keep in mind that the vineyards in Amyndeon and Naoussa are in a higher altitude, so we have really cool nights that helps the vineyard to calm down after the heat and the sun that the vineyard took during the day.
The freshness of the fruit is preserved in that, yeah.
Exactly.
We have several events upcoming, as I had mentioned, for Top Drop. You're involved, I believe, in a couple of master classes as well, or one of them maybe?
Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow we have...
So I will see you there, and obviously... can't wait to actually revisit some of the wines that I tasted back in 2022 and taste what you've brought along and discuss even further some of what makes these wines so special. I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, we got the big walk-around tasting with all the other wineries, too. So
it'll be really nice to see you again there, and really nice to see all the sommeliers, all the people that love wine at the Top Drop event. After all, we're talking a lot about the wine, a lot about the winemaking regions. In the end of the day, we have to just enjoy the wine. We have to stick to the wines that we like, leave behind the wines that we don't like that much.
Yeah,
after all, it's a matter of taste in the end of the day.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Nikos, for being here with me. I really appreciate you spending the time and detailing all of what makes Kir-Yianni so special. I will endeavor to post the links with the interview for both the winery and possibly the restaurant yourself, as well as local importers, World Wine Synergy, and all that stuff will be there. And other than that, I would just say thank you and efaristo.
Thank you, Ty. Thank you for having me. Parakalo. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to The Barrel Room, and I'm Wine Guy Ty. If you like this content, remember to heart this episode. It really does help the algorithm, and you can also subscribe to this podcast for the low price of free, so you don't miss another future drop. Fun fact, if you hit the share button and copy link, many more humans can join us here as I raise my glass to you. Find The Barrel Room on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, and nearly anywhere else you get this type of content. As always, I appreciate you tuning in today. If you or someone interesting from the world of wine you know would like to be considered for an interview live in the Barrel Room, please reach out through your app or direct message me on IG at WineGuyTy. Remember, the best wines are those shared with friends. Let's share my next drop together. Cheers, santé, and salut.